Hey YouTube, Matty's8012 here with another legit YuGiOh video, I guess, article, I don't know. And in this one I'm going to talk about Prophecy again. We've seen a bit of a resurgence in this deck. Like, a lot of people were talking about at the end of the format that this deck was going to fall off because of the drawing rule where you could only start with 5 cards, that this deck was going to not play near as well. And was just going to be harder to play because of that. I did not agree with that statement, and Alex Liskoff, Lolly, you guys know him as Lolly, helped to prove my point in that, and he took Prophecy Spellbooks to the top of the ARG Players Championship. And what that was the top 32 players from the ARG Circuit Series played in a double elimination tournament, and he lost his first round, then played out through the losers bracket and won out using Prophecy, and helped to prove everybody wrong that Prophecy is dead because of the draw rule. Now, the draw rule, where that actually sets it, is the player who goes first only starts with 5 cards, where his opponent starts with 6. So how does that actually affect the Spellbook player? Well, you see, we play 3 Spellbook of Secrets. You also play 3 Blue Boy, and then once you resolve a Blue Boy, that gives you a +1 into the hand. So like that +1 gives you a total of 6 cards. That gives you 6 cards during your turn, which your opponent is going to start with 6 cards also. So going first with Prophecy is not that big of a deal because you have the ability to +1. You also have Justice of Prophecy, and for those of you who don't know exactly what it does, during the end phase of the turn that you resolve a Spellbook card, you can banish Justice of Prophecy to add a Spellbook and a level 5 or higher light or dark spellcaster monster to your hand, so you are able to again +1 off the Justice. So that again puts you at, you know, if that again puts you at 6 cards to their 6 cards. So again, like, you are not hurting yourself by starting with only the 5 cards, because you do have the way to go +1 on your first turn. And make it an even game, sometimes even going up 1 or up 2 cards on your opponent depending on your opening hand. So if the draw rule is not as big of a hindrance to this deck as we thought, then what are we going to have to do about this deck? Because you're going to see this deck more as you enter regionals and as you go to your locals. Well, you're going to see this deck a lot more. So in the past, we have side decked stuff like Zombie World and DNA Surgery, and those have kind of fallen to the wayside. And basically what these guys did for us, DNA Surgery and Zombie World, was that they turned everything on the field into spellcasters, and then Zombie World also turns everything in the graveyard into spellcasters, which shuts off their tower. It also shuts off a lot of their spellbooks that they want to play, like Masters and Fate require a face-up spellcaster monster, so it shuts off part of the engine that they have. So you know, that's what those 2 cards can do for you. However, like, these cards are not getting as much play anymore. Another benefit that Zombie World had was that it was a field spell, so it gave you a game mechanic way of getting rid of your opponent's tower. You could just play this, and their tower would then go to the graveyard. However, now that both players can control a field spell, you can no longer do that. So Zombie World and DNA Surgery, again, falling off from play. Zombie World also doesn't do near as much as what it did before. So that was what's being side decked before. What's being side decked right now? Actually, very little. Full House is gone. MST is getting very little play. If you are seeing MST, it's coming from the side deck, along with Malevolent Catastrophe is really the only card that you're seeing a lot in side decks right now. You're seeing it mainly from artifact players, so they could destroy their own artifacts along with your back row to summon their artifacts and get additional and get additional effects. However, Malevolent Catastrophe does not stop stuff like Tower, and if you're still playing Star Hall, it doesn't stop those from activating, so you are still able to activate those effects if Malevolent Catastrophe resolves. So Malevolent Catastrophe is really the only thing that you really need to worry about right now. And again, it doesn't really hurt you near as much as what it could. So that's just two of the options right there. The last are some that I want to talk about that you may want to start picking up, because there are a couple cards that I've been speculating on. One of them is Shared Ride, and this card is floating around $2.50 to $3 a piece right now. You may see it as high as $4, but either way about it, it's not going for very much. It is a quick play spell card, and what it does is, after this card resolves, each time your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck or graveyard to their hand this turn, except by drawing them, you immediately draw one card. You can only activate one Shared Ride per turn. So, this is essentially a max C against a deck like this, because what does a Spellbook deck do? It searches with Secrets. It searches with Blue Boy. It searches with Masters because it copies Secrets. It searches with Crescent. They just copy. It searches off of Power when it destroys a monster. It searches. So, if I put you into a situation where you're searching off of a Blue Boy, and I activate Shared Ride to that, I am then able to draw. You're really not able to continue doing what you would normally do. You see, the Spellbook deck very rarely loses to itself. It'll almost always, or it very rarely loses to its opponent. It almost always loses to itself by drawing unplayable hands, which has gotten to be happen a lot less often, because you have the 3 Secrets and 3 Blue Boys and the 3 Justice that all are going to give you more consistent plays. This is the one card that you can play that can actually interrupt your opponent who is playing Spellbooks to where they can't really play around this without letting you draw several cards. Kind of like the Max C thought, where Dragons, do they really want to push into your Max C and allow you to draw a bunch of cards and then risk you being able to answer their board? Or Sylvan's, the same situation. Let you draw a bunch of cards and then you being able to answer their Felgrand with having multiple cards to do so. So this is the Prophecy Max C, if you would. Again, this is a card that is relatively inexpensive right now, and is a card that I could see going up in value rather quickly, especially if somebody side decks this for Prophecy and it pays off in one of the the live stream feature matches in either the ARG Circuit series or possibly on a YCS if they start doing more live streams and stuff on there. So yeah, Shared Ride, again guys, a card that I feel like could go up in value and could be important in the side deck for Spellbooks. So like I said guys, this is a deck that I think you could see a lot more of in regionals. So if you do decide to play this at a regional, there is a high possibility that you could see a mirror match. So this is another card that I think you could side in for a mirror match situation. Retort. Retort is a spell speed 3. It is a counter trap. When your opponent activates a spell card, trap card with the same name as one of the cards in your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can add one card with that name from your graveyard to your hand. So this is how this is going to work. If you are in the mirror match situation and your opponent activates Spellbook of Secrets while you have a Spellbook of Secrets engraved, you can then activate Retort, negate their secrets, and then add your secrets back to your hand, essentially shutting them off for the turn. Retort is a rather powerful card in the situation of a mirror match. Just could shut off a lot of their plays and could put you into a major win situation off of this one play. Another thing to consider is if you have a Spellbook Tower in graveyard and your opponent activates Tower, Retort will negate the activation and destroy the card, which will send it to the graveyard, which should give it the opportunity to activate. However, because Retort also destroys the card, then adds a copy of that card from your graveyard to your hand, Spellbook will try to activate, but will not be able to because Retort will still be trying to resolve. So Spellbook Tower will not be able to activate. It will miss timing, miss its opportunity of activation, and again, just getting you another way to get around their tower and getting around their ability to plus off the destruction of tower. So I guess a little ruling part going in there with this also. So there you go, guys. With the rise of play of Spellbooks, I felt like this was a video that was partially needed. If you have the opportunity, pick up Retorts, pick up Shared Rides. Those are a couple cards that I feel like could be going up in value quite a bit here shortly. And be prepared to play against Spellbooks, guys, because this deck is really good. Base Lolly High School is all about the books and teaching kids lessons, right? Listen to Lolly. Alright, guys, I appreciate it. Make sure you head over to Legit YuGiOh and check out our Yu-Gi-Oh articles. Also, make sure you head over to Legit MTG if you are interested in any Magic the Gathering, and check out all the Magic the Gathering articles. Like always, guys, I appreciate it. Subscribe, comment down below, show us how much you love us.